What's going on, guys? So I know this is the first time I've done a video while driving for a very long time, and typically I read articles, or I will, show a newspaper clipping, or I'll go to a web page or something, and I'll sort of just go to town on that. But I just wanted to get back to roots and just raw, real reflections on something that I was thinking about today. Now, some of you may have seen that video I did the other day about respect.gov.au. Basically, the government is completely misandrist, and that I've actually done some more digging on that, and I have another video for another day on that. And by the way, guys, I do apologize if there's a bit of road noise. It is what it is, so please bear with me. I've got some good stuff for you in today's video. Now, I got thinking about my childhood, right? Now, of course, we see those movies and those comics where it says, don't press the red button. What do we want to do? Press the red button, see what happens. Or we could say, oh, don't go and open that cupboard. Even though we know it's probably not a good idea to open the cupboard, we want to see what's in there. We want to see what's going to happen if we open it. Our curiosity gets the better of us. But inherently, it's almost... there's inbuilt curiosity within us to do exactly what we're told not to do, right? And this is why I really believe you shouldn't tell people not to do things. You should tell people, if you were to do this, this would likely be the outcome, and it wouldn't be good for you, rather than say, don't do this, you'll hurt yourself. Now, where am I going with this? On the respect.gov.au posters they've actually got up, it says stuff like, it's got a picture of a guy, and it says, he only does it because he likes you, and then they crossed out, he likes you, and they said because no one stopped him. Basically saying that if no one steps in and intervenes, this male is going to be violent towards you, right? But he's going to pretend that it's because he likes you. Now, not only is that a stupid premise, but it's completely counterintuitive. So we hear all about this nonsense from feminists and social justice warriors and NPCs and these, radical leftist professors and these PhD philosophers and all of this nonsense about toxic masculinity and patriarchy and, male entitlement, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, who's the ones that are entitled here? And with respect to, I guess, this concept, when men are constantly browbeaten and said, men need to stop being violent towards women, men are abusive, men are this, men are that. If a man is any of those things and wants to seek self-intervention, he's highly unlikely to do so because of the inherent shame that is likely to follow, that is predictable and is easy to, it's very, very easy to predict that that's going to happen, especially with feminists basically running all of the domestic violence organizations, basically dominating the fields of psychology and counseling and whatnot, and universities that churn out these people that work in these fields are essentially completely anti-male. And I was thinking about the mechanics of shame, right? And how shame works wonders, right? We can actually shame people out of being masculine by saying, you're a real dickhead, so unattractive when you do all these things, when you flex, when you go to the gym to show off, I find it really unattractive. That's going to shame a guy out of being masculine, right? Because we're inherent female pleasers. We want to please women, right? It's our biological prerogative to reproduce with women, for the most part, right? The majority of men, that's our biological prerogative. Some people are different, some people are asexual, some people are gay. All of that's fine. But more often than not, our prerogative is to reproduce. So when we are basically being shamed out of all of the things that make us masculine, then we're no longer masculine, and it can actually create real conflict, like very, very deep-seated, not just personal and social conflict, but societal conflict, where everything goes out of whack. Where was I going with this? I've been off on a mental tangent all day, and I really needed to talk about all this. So I really wonder where we're going as a society. I was looking around me, I was doing some people watching this afternoon while I was having coffee with a great buddy of mine. And all I saw was these downtrodden men, browbeaten. You know, one old guy carrying a bunch of flowers home to his wife, presumably, with this look on his face that said, oh, you know, what's my purpose in life? And he didn't even know that he was questioning his purpose. I could just see it in his body language. We've just been programmed into this mode. We've lost our sense of self, men. Many of you, of course, have not lost your sense of self, and you know exactly who you are. And that's part of the men going their own way philosophy, right? That's inherent in that philosophy. And some people say, well, I'm going my own way because fuck women, right? And, well, I understand why some of you may feel that way. But when you actually truly take the red pill, when it's fully ingested and fully digested, you actually understand how society all comes together. You understand how the dynamics of male and female come together, and how that's been torn apart and completely ripped from reality. You know what I mean? So it's just really fascinating me and getting to. And by the way, I just want to say a big hello to everyone, especially MGTOW Knowledge Darius. If you have not seen MGTOW Knowledge Darius' channel, go and check him out, guys. He's an absolute gun. Appreciate you, Darius. Thanks for dropping by, brother. And thank you to my moderators for keeping things civil in the live stream. I know they can get a little bit passionate at times. But back to where I was at. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Honestly, I totally lost where I was going, but I just wanted to say to you guys, find your sense of purpose and live that purpose. Don't let anyone else tell you what to do. Don't let yourself be programmed, right? Because that's what we've allowed to happen. We've allowed ourselves to be programmed, right? There's this set of rules that's built into us, and we need to break free of other people's expectations of us, so we can live our own true selves, so we can live our own lives. My brother Chris Cantu in the box as well. Good to see you, Chris. And Chris says, women have been weaponized against men. They are not our enemies. Yeah, look, that's right. They're not our enemies. You know, as a collective, they're not our enemies. You know, if we take all the rules away, take all the societal rules away, and we're just beings. We exist to procreate, right? To evolve, to carry on our family, you know? That's really what this is all about. That's what the deal is. It's really sad to see that we've lost this, you know? It's really sad to see that we've lost it. By the way, guys, I know I've gone on a tangent now. I've totally gone off on a tangent. I completely lost where I started. Can one of you guys please drop the topic of this video in the comments right now so that I can get back on track? By the way, I just wanted to say to you guys, there was a campaign launched against Mission Australia a while back because they were putting up misandric posters saying, we're homeless instead of helpless, they're saying we're homeless to stop dad abusing mum or something like that. But I've noticed that this recent Mission Australia campaign, and I just drove past a bus stop on it, and on the bus stop it had, you know, photos and captions, and the new campaign actually seems really positive, really hopeful, and it's actually talking about male homelessness. It's talking about compassion. It's not demonizing men. And I think that that's a great thing. I really, really do. Right? And, you know, back to encouraging human relations with each other. And that's right. That's exactly where I was going with this. So we see all these posters, particularly from respect.gov.au at the moment, say, you know, with all these negativity and, oh, there's an ad on TV and a guy knocks over a little girl and the mum comes and picks up the little girl and says, oh, it's okay. You know, he's just being a boy. And the girl says, it's okay, mum. I know it's all right for boys to hit girls. And then the boy that's just knocked her over says, oh, yeah, and I guess when I get older, it'll be okay for me to be violent towards women. You're actually planting the seeds of chaos. You're planting the seeds of total negativity. What if, and like my dad, right? I was actually looking at a photo of my dad and my mum earlier on. And I was talking to my friend over coffee, as I mentioned. And I said to myself, you know, I didn't realize how much my dad sacrificed for, you know, for our family when I was younger. And it was only until about 2 years ago that I realized exactly how much my dad sacrificed for our family, right? And how much he selflessly gave for the people he loves, right? The people with whom he has that intense, deep connection. And I thought, you know, I always admired my dad, and I wanted to be half, and I always said I want to be a half, if I can be half the man that my father is, then I will be overjoyed. I'll be over the moon with who I've become. And how many times do we, like, guys, just, I want you to think about this, right? Times that you've seen, for example, like a couple of, you know, mates hanging out. And you're like, man, it's so cool to see those guys hanging out at mates. I love that. You know, or, you know, if you've, in the past when you've seen a couple together, you'd be like, man, I wish I had a relationship like that, where there's no headaches, there's no animosity, it's just two people being. You know, or you see a kid who's so well behaved and it's a happy child, you know, and the kid's with his dad and they've just got this incredible connection, whether it's a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. And you're like, man, I would love to have a relationship like that with my kid, if I have kids, or if you've got kids, I'd love to have a relationship like that with my kids. What an incredible relationship to have. You know, what an incredible connection. Wouldn't it be amazing if instead of showing, you know, these women cowering in the corner with the man over it, you know, instead of showing posters like this, let's show posters that are radiating human connection, right? What the fuck is our government spending their money on? Why can't we show fathers with their kids nurturing those children? Why can't they show men protecting their partners? Right? This is what we should be aspiring to, right? Because admiration and people being worthy of respect, that's something to look up to. That's something to aim for. That's something that we naturally gravitate towards to. None of us turn around and say, like, if there's a dude, right, that's been abused as a kid, and he's a drug and alcohol addict, and he's got a girlfriend who's constantly setting him off or being a bitch to him, right? Yeah, sure, her being a bitch to him doesn't justify him beating the shit out of her. But if he's a drug and alcohol addict and he was abused and beaten as a kid, what's the pattern of the behavior? What's the pattern of behavior that's likely to be mirrored? What's the pattern of behavior that's likely to repeat? History repeats itself unless something intervenes. And you don't intervene by saying, don't press the red button, because the first thing you're going to do is press the red button. Now, I'm not saying if you tell people don't be violent towards women, they're going to go and be violent towards women, because that's obviously something that requires a much deeper intent to go and do something like that, right? If you say don't press the button or don't open the cupboard, you're going to press the button or open the cupboard because you're curious, right? Because you don't know what that button will do or what that cupboard will contain. But you know what's going to happen if you beat up on a woman, right? You know what's going to happen if you beat up on anyone, right? You know the outcome already. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a positive outcome. It's not going to be something where you're like, oh, I'm glad I know what happens now. It's a shit situation. It's a shit outcome. You know this already. So shaming men into not doing something that we already know is wrong and that we already know the outcome will be negative from is not going to have any positive effects. It's not going to have any impact. It's not going to stop domestic violence. It's not going to stop any type of violence, especially not if you ignore the instigator, especially not when you actually make the, especially not then. People, as a couple of individuals, whether it be two men, two women, a man and a child, a man and a boy, right? A woman and a daughter, a man and a son, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever the relationship dynamic between two living, breathing human beings, whatever that relationship dynamic is, regardless, you know, you just, let's create positive role models. Let's create positive models. Let's advertise that. Let's advertise positivity, right? Let's not allow this to continue, this negativity, this browbeating, this, don't do that. Because if a dude is drunk, right, and he's angry with himself, and this woman's being a complete bitch to him, and he hits her as much as he shouldn't and as much as it's wrong, it's not going to be a great outcome. It's seriously just going to be a situation that's going to get really messy real quick. No doubt. So I'm just going to keep this van running just in case the light goes out. By the way, this isn't my car right now, guys. I've got my car in for service. It's getting a new master brake cylinder. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's been a bit dicey recently. So I wonder what it's going to take to get this message through to our leaders. I think any of you, especially you guys in Australia, I know most of my viewers are American and I love you guys. I don't know how your system is over there, whether you've got like a local member of parliament or a local representative for the government. You really need to speak to these people in positions of power and say, look, you know, we're sick of being demonized. I'm not a woman beater. I'm not violent towards women. I'm not abusive, right? Where are the positive role models? Why are we just being browbeaten? Because if you're browbeaten as a dude, you're not going to go and seek help, right? Even if you're abused as a kid, you're not going to go to your feminist psychologist and say, I was abused as a kid and I need help and I'm really struggling and, you know, I'm struggling with alcohol abuse. Because the first thing they're going to do is drag you down to the police station and have you slapped with a domestic violence order and have you taken away from your partner, instead of trying to fix the situation. So this is where I see we're at, and this is a huge opportunity that I see for the world and for society at large to really take the reins, with a positive direction. And, you know, I'm not really into the woo-woo, but, you know, I do believe in positive energy. And I really do believe in, I don't know if I believe it or not, but, you know, you can just hope that you will manifest what you create. And you'll get what you give out. Exactly right, beard fetish. Speaking of beards, November is coming up. It is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Australia, called Movember. I don't know if you guys have it overseas, but I am definitely going to be seeking sponsors for November to raise money for prostate cancer. So I will be shaving at the start of November, and I'll be creating a link so you guys can go and give your donation to prostate cancer research to help other men to try and avoid this. Charlie Brown AU says vote for One Nation or non-mainstream party. I agree with that. Australian Conservatives are pretty good, but they're pretty tradcon. I reckon Liberal Democrat Party and One Nation, they're both pretty well aligned, and they're not left wing, which is a plus because, well, we've seen what happens with leftists. Yeah, that's right, beard fetish. Come on, men, let's all grow out our beards and show them what masculinity looks like. Because this is what it looks like. I'm just saying. And I will be growing my beard as long as I can. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'd love to get your thoughts on what I've spoken about today, and about human connection, and about radiating positivity as a person. Like, I know that some of the shit I talk about on this channel is a little negative. I know that, but it's things that you guys really need to be aware of. Oh, for God's sake. You can see across the road, there's like this house, and there's this chick in a room, and she's just like taking selfies, and the flash is going off. Whatever. But you guys, what do you think? Is it our time to lead, to radiate positivity, to radiate masculinity, to take back our sovereignty as men? I think it is time for that. I think it's time to be real. You're right, Chris can too. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna bounce for now. It's time for me to get home, get some sleep. I got 4 hours of sleep last night because I drove all the way out of Sydney, almost 3 hours, to Bomaderry to drop off my car at the place where my buddy works out of, who has been so kind as to give me a master brake cylinder at no cost. Super generous dude. Like, he didn't buy it, it was just out of a car that he dismantled, but it's still no less generous to me. Like, I'm still really humbled that he would do that for me. So if you're watching right now, Jimmy, I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, I had to drive back to Sydney after that, and oh man, I'm knackered. I really need to get some sleep. I've still got some stuff to do. No rest for the wicked. All right, guys, I'm gonna bounce for now. If you want to donate to this channel, paypal.me/SydneyMGTOW. PayPal.me/SydneyMGTOW. If you want to become a Patreon for even just $1 a month, it really helps out. Patreon.com/SydneyMGTOW. Keep an eye out for the start of November, when I'll be starting my Movember fundraising for prostate cancer research. And if you want to check out one of my sweet, I wasn't wearing it today because it's a little too warm, but one of the Sydney hoodies for you guys in Canada and the US who are starting to get a bit chilly right now. These things are fleecy AF inside, and I think you will love it. And if you haven't already smashed the thumbs up button, please smash that thumbs up. It really helps me to get traction on this channel, to get the good word out to other people. And if you can share this video with anyone this will resonate with anyone that just needs to reconnect with the people they care about, I really think that this is something that needs to be heard, and will get people thinking about, you know, what are we really here for all over again. All right, men, and the ladies that have joined in also, I really appreciate you all, and thank you for supporting me by way of smashing the thumbs up on these videos and sharing these videos and commenting to get traction, and I hope you'll do the same for this one. Anyway, guys, I'm out here for now, but until then, peace.